I never got the you're so beautiful, like, oh my gosh, like I never stop eyes. Like, you know, when some girls walk in the room, everybody knows them because of how they look. I was only popular because I'm like, hey, how you doing? Always talkative. People always hear me before they see me. And I just never felt like, even though you could hear me before you see me, I still felt like people weren't seeing me. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I can't tell you why. It was just something in my mind. Maybe because I grew up as an only child. I didn't really have anybody to reinforce in my mind, like day and night, to say, hey, you're beautiful, you're a beautiful black girl. Growing up, I was in a predominantly white and Spanish school setting from nursery all the way up to 8th grade. It wasn't until like high school at Passaic County Tech that I kind of got a little more diversity. But everybody around me was always light skinned. Even some of my family members were light, and it was always about being brown skinned and having long hair, and especially in my Jamaican culture, it was just kind of like the standard. And if you were the dark-skinned girl, you had a nappy hair. So I used to scrub my skin harder, trying to hope that some of the black would come off. Never wanted to be in the sun. I begged my mom to perm my hair. And I'm just like, no, I want straight hair. That's what everybody else has, because too much people call me nappy-head pygmy.
Growing up as a black girl, I think the biggest insecurity was my skin, because I'm the dark one. I was always the dark one out of my friends and out of my cousins. So when we went out at the time, I guess light skin was in, and, you know, I'll be hanging with my cousins and they would get all the attention, and I'm just, you know, the sidekick. I actually found myself like holding people's stuff while they was talking to boys.
When I was younger, I was chunky. I was a very plump young girl. So it was one of those things where not everybody else looked like me. So it was pretty hard, you know, growing up in like Catholic school, because people did pick on me and stuff like that. So it was hard for me to love myself, which actually made me, when I grew up and I went to high school, I like starved myself so I can become smaller and fit in with everybody else.
My sister and I, she's 2 years older than I am, but she's light-skinned. And I'm dark like I am. But I always had a personality. She could care less about people. But anytime we were together, everybody would say, oh, Lillian, you are so cute. You look so pretty. And they would say, oh, Yvonne, you're nice, or something like that. And I knew then at that point that it was because she was lighter than I was.
I've seen that when it comes to light-skinned people, oh, they're prettier, they have more of a certain look to them. So, you know, it doesn't take too much for them to do, you know, to really like be out there, to put themselves out there, that they always have to look more proper and they have to look better. That's just the way the light-skinned woman is portrayed.
Those who were lighter, with long hair, got all the attention from not only teachers, but from other peers. So my insecurity came with, why am I not accepted? I'm cute.
Thinking back as I was younger, it was always the black people to tease me, not the white people. White people, I feel like they would kind of like compare themselves to me, but more so in a glorified way, like, oh, you know, I'm not as tan as Christina. And hearing that made me feel a little better than, oh shit, Christina black as hell.
I've had students to tell me, young women, unfortunately, that I want to have a baby by a Latino because I want my children to come out light. That's so sick. It makes my heart hurt, because it means that they have not accepted who they are. They are still very psychologically damaged. And that's been a problem with us, being with this light skin, dark skin.
Light skin is a lot more related to being white, because everybody knows, like, let's, for example, in plantations in Jamaica, if you were lighter, you work in the house. If you were darker, you were outside in the field.
There was a difference between how the light-skinned children and people on the plantation were were treated, because the master knew that those were his children. And in many instances, he treated them a little better. And there were times when he even sent them to college. He even sent them to school, sent them away. That was a better one than that. But there were so many. So we began to see or think that being light got you somewhere.
It's really a slave master mentality that was created by the slave masters to separate the slave community.
And because psychologically we were taken in by that, we began to treat each other like that.
There's not enough time between when slavery ended to where we are now. And that's what a lot of people forget. That time frame is still there. Remember, great-great-grandparents could be slaves. Your great-grandparent could have been a slave. We don't know. It's just the time. There's not enough time to separate that mentality, and not enough people who want to separate that mentality. I feel like now we're pushing towards ending that separation. Like, there's no light skin, there's no dark skin, we're all just one black people. But that's gonna take generations to overcome.
I have a daughter that I have adopted from Haiti, and I adopted her because her mother had a son who was lighter than she was, and she began to mistreat her because she thought her son was better. And she lived in a household of terror. I took her. And now, of course, she's a very prominent young woman, because then she realizes that that was that woman's problem, not hers.
So when it comes to makeup, I'm not really a makeup person, but every time, like, I would have to get my makeup done for something. Okay, so say for prom, my sister's girlfriend was trying to help me out at the time, and we were trying to find people who actually did makeup, you know, for people of color. And it was either me or them asking, can you do dark-skinned girls well? And I feel like it kind of made me feel like I wasn't even pretty enough to wear makeup. Like, I had to be put in a category of a challenge rather than, oh yeah, let me do her makeup because she has nice skin.
I could never find the correct foundation to go with mine. It was always like super, super light, and it got to the middle where I knew the middle color would make me look ashy. Like, it would never be, you know, a certain type of color that would be good enough for me. So I always felt like when it came to the smaller, cheaper brands, that they stopped at a certain color. And it was like, that color is not versatile for everyone.
And black women spend lots of money on makeup. And when I say makeup, I mean makeup, from hair to eyelashes to lipstick to everything. We spend, someone said something about almost $1 trillion, black women. Do you know how many schools we could get with that? How many libraries? How many kids we could send to get scholarships for? Because we're still trying to look like the other. Look at Beyonce, you know, and what's her name? The one that changed her face so many times. And think about all of them that are out there. Think about them, look at them. Who are they? They're very light, and they have blonde hair. Even Mary J. Blige has blonde hair. They're still buying into that. We're lost in that way somehow.
I saw Destiny's Child a lot when I grew up, like, you know, Beyonce being the lead singer, then you had Kelly, then you had Michelle. And I think Beyonce was always like the main focus, only because she was, you know, lighter skinned woman, she had blonde hair, like, she was very, like, versatile, she could sing. Everybody wanted to be Beyonce, like, back in the day. And even now, I feel like a lot of women still look up to her, they still love her, they still adore her.
I really wish the women who are prominent in the media, such as Beyonce and Nicki Minaj and so many others, like Black China, all of them, I really wish they would have, I guess you can say, stick to their blackness, whereas the little girls who are looking up to them, like Nicki Minaj especially, like, so many little girls look up to her, and all I see is fakeness. Because back when she was somebody from Alta, New York, sticking true to her music, she was a lot more influential than who she is now. Because you're portraying this image that, even though it's something that you like, remember, you are in a public eye. I know it's wrong to feel like you have to adjust who you are, but why did you feel the need to change your nose, put lip injections, have a bigger butt, more hips, have this sense of the Barbie doll that you do portray? Why was it necessary for you to change who you are, the person that God created, and have this image now? What does that say about how you feel about yourself, and how the little girls who look up to you, what does that say to them? Are you telling them why you changed your bodies because that's how you want it to be? So is that how they should be as well?
I carry my blackness with me. No one has to know how I feel about who I am as an African American woman. They know.
I think it was a long time coming when it comes to black women embracing themselves, embracing their body and stuff. And I think it always starts with one person. I think it always starts with a certain movement. And I just feel like now, like, black women are starting to also realize that, you know, having permed hair and trying to fit in with everybody else is not necessary. That you can still be beautiful and have natural hair. That there is so much that you can do with your natural hair. Like, you have, I call it YouTube University. You can watch everybody under the sun who has your certain texture, who has your skin tone, who has this, who has that can help you embrace who you are at the end of the day.
I didn't really develop self-love till I got to college. Here's when I finally got compliments that, oh, your skin is very pretty. And it wasn't just, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. I actually got compliments saying, you know, you're beautiful. And I guess getting compliments from every type of ethnicity kind of helped me out, because it's like, they see my beauty too. They're not holding me up to a certain standard.
After when I got to high school and I started like starving myself to fit in, starting to realize that I was doing all these things and not even doing them because I wanted to do them to better myself and be healthier and wanting to be, you know, more vibrant for myself. I was trying to do it for other people to fit in. That's when I realized that I needed to love myself enough, and that in order to truly, truly do that, that I had to remind myself that, Chelsea, you are beautiful. Chelsea, that you are pretty, and that you don't have to do this to fit in. Because after a while, when I started seeing how much weight I was losing and just how sad I was because I felt like I wasn't pretty enough, or I wasn't good enough to be around certain people or be looked at by a certain guy that you liked and stuff like that. And I did realize that people also do feed off of that energy when they feel like you're not confident enough in yourself.
Most of my life I was an ugly black girl. It wasn't until I got to college where I became more confident, where I started doing modeling, music, and I just kind of took out the negative stigmas that society would try to put me in.
It's a self-motivating and it's a power movement that's, you know, you see celebrities doing it, so now everybody feels like because this celebrity is being really natural. For instance, Alicia Keys, like, she's all about natural beauty now. She's not even like wearing makeup that often anymore. So it's like when you see certain things like this, that definitely motivates you to embrace your natural self, whether it be your hair, your makeup, or trying a new like clothing or anything like that. Those things definitely do motivate you.
I mean, out of all my friends, I'm still that dark-skinned girl, but I feel like now, I guess people's minds are more mature, and we're not so focused on the light-skin, dark-skin thing. I feel like people take my skin as something different, and I'm always getting asked what I am, which makes me feel like people are actually curious about me and they're paying attention.
Love yourself, despite what other people tell you, despite what people, if they try to bring you down, whether it be how you look, whether it be your last name, whether it be whatever it is. Love yourself for who you are.
It's okay to be who you are, just the way you are. You don't really have to change to meet a certain standard. And don't live by anyone else's compliments. You have to know that you're perfectly fine just the way you are from within.
We're strong, we're black, we're wonderful, we're beautiful, we're intelligent, we're ready to become all that we are.